The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Become one of the most loudest voices in the opposition and one of the FNM's most talked about MPs. Tonight, Dr. Andre Rollins takes on the issues dominating the headlines and the sore subjects on the minds of Bahamians. Also tonight, is Rollins positioning himself for leader of the FNM? Is he hoping former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis joins him? Coming up tonight, several families in Bimini burned out of their homes early this morning. The residents speaking out that there were no firefighting response mechanisms on the island. We look into that tonight. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. Happy Independence, Bahamas. It's good to have you all along this evening. Well, the issues facing the nation are hard to miss, from energy security and economic opportunity to governance and the role of the opposition. Tonight, FNM MP and Shadow Minister for Energy, Dr. Andre Rollins, joins me for a candid conversation on the country's biggest challenges, the FNM's priorities, and the path he believes lies ahead. Good evening to you, Dr. Rollins. It's good to have you here. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening, Shanique. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you.
Bahamas.
Happy Independence, by the way.
To you as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, as I said a minute ago, you've become one of the FNM's most outspoken voices on issues ranging from BPL and the economy to government accountability. Let's look at an area that you say the government is failing or has failed the Bahamian people, BPL. We have heard and know that BPL has an aged infrastructure that hasn't kept pace with the growth and increasing demands placed on it. The government has announced plans for an energy reform. So you say to them, though, come clean. What information do you believe is owed to the Bahamian people or being withheld from the public for you to tell them, come clean?
Well, I think if you're going to talk about a proper accounting of how we got here, looking at it from an historical perspective, many would acknowledge that the problems at what used to be BEC began when former chairman of BEC, the late Bradley Roberts, God rest his soul, was chairman of that utility company, and he initiated basically a scheme which involved providing electricity at significantly discounted rates in what amounted to a political effort to gain support for the government of the day, the Progressive Liberal Party. And what that did is effectively deprived the company of its much needed resources, the revenue that it ought to have generated to be able to feed or put back into the company. And so from as far back as the chairmanship of Mr. Roberts, the company, shortly after his plan to provide cheap electricity, which was not based on a fundamental approach to how you run a company. But that is where we go wrong in the country, whereby we allow utility companies to basically be run by politicians.
By politicians. So you feel as though
we are where we are now, not because the problem started with this administration, but a prior administration.
You went all the way back. Let's just talk. So you were saying that under the chairmanship or was he minister?
No, he at the time he was. My recollection is that he was actually the chairman of BEC.
Under his chairmanship, and he would know. He's passed, he perhaps would say, listen, he needed to help people who couldn't help themselves and who couldn't afford electricity. So as you said, he made it cheaper. But you're saying that is when the downfall and this slump of BPL and then obviously lagging behind began.
Well, if you want to be able to appreciate the reality of our current situation, we have no one less than the communications director in the office of the Prime Minister saying that the government he is a part of has pledged a $1 billion investment in BPL. Where that $1 billion investment is coming from, or whether it has in fact begun, we have no evidence of that. But the bottom line is, as you indicated, we have a very aging infrastructure for the company. There are many persons discussing the fact that there has not been a maintenance plan in place. So we have a lot of equipment that has basically not being serviced the way it should be. And so recently we had this catastrophic power failure this past weekend,
Yes.
Where the government has sought to blame Mother Nature, calling it
Oh, you don't believe that?
I absolutely do not believe that.
Oh.
They called it.
You saw the smoke. You saw the video with the smoke coming out the building.
I have no way of proving that that was a video of an event that occurred this past weekend. I don't. Beyond that, let's say that it was an event from this past weekend. How do I know that it was lightning that caused it? How do I know that it wasn't excessive demand on aging equipment that could not, the demand that is, could not be absorbed by the system that is currently in place? And so you had a surge of demand resulting in the breakdown of the infrastructure. That is very plausible, and I have more reason to believe that that is the case as opposed to an act of God or an event caused by Mother Nature. It's easy for a government to blame someone else other than itself. Mm-hmm. But don't blame God, all right? And if you're going to blame God, show us proof, especially when the minister who loves to be on television, in fact, she's a guest on your show very often. Mm-hmm. I find it difficult to believe that since this past weekend when this catastrophic failure occurred, she has not had the respect of the Bahamian people to show herself or put herself before the cameras to to have the media ask questions of her and for her to give an honest accounting of what transpired. Instead, she sent the CEO of BPL to basically like a lamb to the slaughter to be responsible for answering for something that she, so as the overall person responsible for BPL, is supposed to be responsible for
and I'm not speaking
addressing.
Yes, I'm not her voice on this interview tonight, but I'm saying, what about the technocrats? Do you think they sufficiently handle it? Because my next question was, is this a matter of aging and aged facilities and equipment or management?
Shanique, when since have we seen governments in this country empower technocrats to be responsible for either A, giving accounting of what happens in our government, or B, taking credit for what happens? We have politicians who want to be seen as being overall responsible for what is happening in this country as long as it is positive. Mm-hmm. But when it's negative, they find it very convenient to thrust the technocrats or the non-elected officials before the cameras to be able to take the heat. Mm-hmm. And that's wrong. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is we have a situation here where this government, which is a government of spin, of public relations, and not a government of action, they are very seasoned at campaigning, but they're extremely poor at governing.
Well, what do you think of the energy reform and the announcement of that? And have you been able to discover how far along are we in that?
Well, I invite people at BPL to provide me with whatever information that they are privy to so that I can have a greater degree of information to be in a position to properly speak to the myriad of issues affecting BPL. But I can assure you, someone is not being truthful. You cannot say from 2021 to 2025 that you have initiated a reform plan for BPL, and you cannot tell me that you are well into this plan, then ask to be reelected and say you are a government of progress. Shortly after your reelection, all hell breaks loose. Everything goes to hell. All right? You're failing at the most basic and fundamental duties of a government to provide electricity to your people and those who are within your country, to provide health care to your citizens, to have good roads that are passable, that people can drive on, okay? The electricity being out, you don't even have street lights that are operating. And you're trying to tell me it's better in the Bahamas? You're trying to tell me that this is progress? I'd say to everybody who has an ounce of common sense, tell me if you really believe that what we are seeing right now, is evidence of progress. And listen to me, Bahamians are not fools.
Well then, Dr. Rollins, answer this. How less than 2 months ago, Bahamians bought that message of progress and rejected the FNM's message?
Well, I can assure you that Bahamians had an opportunity to buy what the Progressive Liberal Party was selling. And I think right now they are suffering from a serious case of buyer's remorse.
If the FNM were government, if you all were elected less than 2 months ago, what would you be doing differently at BPL? BPL seems to be the hardest fix for the longest while right now in the nation.
We don't have transparency.
What would you do differently?
This government came to power with their most recent speech from the throne, and they promised the full enrollment, or enactment rather, of the Freedom of Information Act. Another thing that I don't buy, again, this is a government of spin, of public relations. This is not a government that wants to be held accountable. They said that they would enact the Freedom of Information Act, right? Fine. Yet they only apportion $100,000 towards the implementation of Freedom of Information Act.
Why do you suppose so many administrations, even up right now to today, are reluctant to enact, enforce, fully introduce and move forward with the Freedom of Information Act?
They don't want transparency, Shanique. They don't want people like you in the media. They don't want members of the public to have access to the information, to be able to show whether what they are saying is in fact supported by the facts that are disclosed when they request information from the government. I can tell you this, all right? We have fundamentally, we have a government of darkness. It is very ironic with all of the electrical power failures we have in this country, but this is a government of darkness.
In which ways do you mean? Okay, you say electricity is one. Well, and
they operate. They love to operate in the shadows. They love to operate in a fashion that deprives the public the opportunity to truly see what they are doing. They govern on press releases. Oh, you're going to see a lot of press releases. Where are they showing you that they are prepared to answer the tough questions? They're not interested in being asked the tough questions, nor are they prepared to answer them. They deliberately went about in 2021 gutting the media. They took most of the senior, most seasoned journalists in this country, and they gave them plum jobs in the public sector. Do I blame the members of the media, the seasoned members, for leaving? Absolutely not.
Well,
because they have families to take care of as well.
I was about to say, maybe that's right? Something, should you be successful in leading any party and being elected as leader of the nation, you can address. Because the veterans in media leave media because, Dr. Rollins, they don't make handsome salaries.
Well, what I will say is this. The Cub reporters, I urge them to find their courage, because we need them. They are no less important than I am as a member of parliament, because they are going to put me in a position as member of parliament to be able to better do my job. Mm-hmm. I want them to find the courage and ask the questions. And if they are victimized for being forthright, for being aggressive in doing their jobs, it is up to us and members of civil society to come to their defense.
I agree. Let's shift gears, because I have a lot to ask you, and you know that this time goes by so quickly on the show. So let's shift gears to exactly where you are. far? You've just been elected. It's not your first time. But let's just talk about you in Parliament now. What is this dance rather, between you and the Speaker of the House, Patricia DeVoe? Everything you do goes viral. Every exchange between the two of you will go viral. And people love it. However they respond to it. I'm sure you've seen some of it, and some of it is for fun on social media. What's that about?
You know, as funny as it may sound, I have fondness for the Speaker. If I see her right now, I'm going to give her a hug. And I don't want people...
Have you ever hugged her?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't want people to perceive that I mean the Speaker any ill will. I don't. You know, while I'm forceful in the House, you know, I have a big heart, and she has a difficult job. She's under a lot of pressure, intense pressure from the party that she belongs to try to stifle the voices of the opposition. All I ask for Madam Speaker to do is to appreciate her role as the guardian of our democracy in that place, to allow us to do our jobs for and on behalf of the Bahamian people, because there are PLPs who are frustrated by all of the things happening in this country, the more recent revelations of you know, I mean, look at what happened in Bimini today, all right?
Yeah.
We had Latre Raming, who's no stranger to this show. He said a year ago that 15 to 20 fire trucks were on order from Europe, okay? And he said that the person responsible for the trucks, the fire trucks arriving here to the Bahamas, was none other than the Commissioner of Police, Commissioner Shanton Knowles. Now, there have been absolutely no reports of any fire trucks arriving since that statement was made by the Director of Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister a year ago. And in Bimini today, all right, and my family has ties to Bimini, okay? So I want people to know, I'm not speaking as somebody who does not appreciate, we got a lot of, I mean, Bimini is as much a part of the Bahamas as Long Island is, and New Providence.
Absolutely.
So they deserve the attention of the Bahamian people. How is it that Perry Christie could serve as Prime Minister and talk glowingly about us having anchor projects go throughout the archipelago? We have an anchor project in Bimini, and we have no functioning fire truck.
Well, I want to ask you, well, first, when did this start? When did this sort of dereliction not being able to supply every Family Island community with a fire truck start? Did it start
Don't ask me when it started. This administration was re-elected. They came in 2021.
And promised
a year ago, they said 15
ago.
to 20 fire trucks were on order and on their way.
Point taken.
And so now they are into their 5th year as government of this country. And so you ask me where we are today? We are in a state of failure brought on by a government that promised progress. And we see every day evidence of regression.
Let's talk about the 2026-2027 budget. Do you think it got it right when it comes to addressing the cost of living and bringing relief?
They're great at putting words on paper. The PLP are great at putting words on paper. Show me evidence of the action behind the words. Look at how beautiful the press release was talking about BPL changing hands. We still don't know who owns BPL today. I mean, let's call it, be accurate here. Bahamas Grid Company.
Bahamas Grid, right.
Okay, all right. BPL basically has 40% ownership of Bahamas Grid, which means the Bahamian public has 40% ownership of it, which is the grid supplying the electrical infrastructure of this country, how we get our electricity. 60% of that is owned by a private consortium, private investors. We still don't know who these private investors are. And you tell me, as a government promising freedom of information, you can't tell me the most basic information? Grand Bahama, they just purchased Emera in Grand Bahama under a new name now. And we still don't know whether the deal has been consummated and what is happening in terms of that sale.
What do you make, though, of
They're
the government?
not interested in transparency.
What do you make of the government and its I guess, delivering on relief when it comes to removing and expanding the VAT-free items of food in food stores?
You know, the way it's structured, if you look deep into the details and how that whole practice operates, they've done it whereby it seems as though the government has reduced VAT, but they have made it so that the costs will be borne by the businesses, meaning that it's not zero rated, it's VAT exempt. And so it ends up whereby the costs are now, because it doesn't, there's no way for the businesses to redeem what they are owed by the government as it relates to VAT. So they end up now having much smaller profit margins. What do you think happens when they have to deal with their expenses? They're going to find other ways to make up for what they're losing based on this clever tax structure employed by the government. So what it is, it's sleight of hand. It's seeming to give while they're taking away from someplace else. And that's what we have to be careful of, And this is why we need transparency. This is why we need proper discussion about these issues. Everything they put on press release to make it sound like they're doing great things, but in actuality, that couldn't be further from the truth.
I want you to come back,
One last thing I want to do.
Wait, come back after the break. No, I will not dare have you here for just one segment. No, sir. By the way, one viewer said, listen, let Andre Rollins know this, that the media and victimization in media is very real, and both parties are guilty of it, of victimizing media personalities, and so many things go into a lot of decisions that are made. Beyond the Headlines is just getting started, because when I come back, I'm going to shift to the F&M. He has a lot to say, right, about the government, but we can talk with the F&M and his role. Beyond the Headlines is back right after this. Stay close.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel. And I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Luckily it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. It's big enough now to handle your big loads, Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. Well, just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes your process you add and entertains them.
Here at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store, we believe in our prices. That's why we offer our price match guarantee. If you find any of our items being sold for a lower price at any of our competitors, whether that's online or in store, let us know about it and we'll beat the price right there on the spot. No one does it like CBS Bahamas. Learn more at cbsbahamas.com.
It's Independence time again, and Grand Bahama Tiles is celebrating big savings with their 20% off store-wide sale. With new styles arriving, they have just what you need for your kitchen, living room, and patio. And the first 10 customers get an additional $50 off their tile purchase. Come on in July 8th and July 9th and enjoy big Independence Day savings. Call them at 352-7920.
Come, let's celebrate the Bahamas' independence. Stop by Janae's Uniform Set and get 30% off selected Independence Polo items. Get an additional 10% volume discount for 30 or more pieces. Net items excluded. The net items, Janae's unique limited edition Independence tees. Don't forget the black, gold, and aquamarine ribbons in various sizes to decorate the home or office. Visit Janae's Chesapeake Road or text the Janae's digital team at 817-3295 or email sales@janae's.com or www.janae's.com. Happy Independence, Bahamas from Janae's.
My name is Charles Wesley Rowe. My organic farm is Nice Layers Organic Farm. I have 230 birds up here. I give them fresh water, pumpkin, lettuce, cabbages, all the vegetables. Anything what I eat, they eat. Right now we sell the eggs for $7 a dozen from Monday to Friday. On Saturdays, you can get 4 dozen eggs for $21. I'll be located on Jamaica Road, the western side, Silverstone Primary School.
My special guest this evening, Dr. Andre Rollins. He is the Shadow Minister of Energy in the Free National Movement and the FNM's Member of Parliament for Long Island. At the top segment, we were speaking about mainly BPL and other issues as well as it relates to the economy and what he feels is the government's failure to deliver on progress, as he put it. But I'm going to shift focus in this segment, and so I'll start right out there. Was it a fair ask of you, Dr. Rollins, to ask Dr. Minnis last week to use your platform and your wonderful influence and voice to help be the glue that the FNM needs and to unify the FNM? Was that fair of you to ask Dr. Minnis that?
Well, let's be clear. I didn't say anything about Dr. Minnis being any glue for the FNM.
That was my word.
Right? But I want everybody to know we have only ever had 5 prime ministers in this country, and every last one of them deserve the respect that office demands. And while even in the House, some people will recall me being very firm, even confrontational, as it were, toward former Prime Minister Perry Christie, that is because while the office deserves respect, when you sit in that office, you ought to be accountable, all right? And so there's nothing wrong with us questioning our politicians. That's healthy, that's important. Having said that, we have only ever had 2 prime ministers, the FNM that is, who have, or the FNM has only ever had 2 leaders who became prime minister.
Right.
That's the Right Honorable Hubert Ingraham, Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis. Forget about any personal feelings that I have about either of those gentlemen, okay? Forget about any past history I have with them. The reality is I have the utmost respect for the substantial pressure that comes with that office.
So do you think that he still has a role to play in the FNM, and was he treated fairly in your view?
My job as a member of the Free National Movement is to want to see the party grow, to want to see the party be as unified as it can be, because that is how you are at your strongest, to be able to wage political war against a party as strong as the Progressive Liberal Party is. I mean, let there be no mistake. Let's not pretend here, all right? The Free National Movement, to be at its, in its best fighting shape, needs all hands on deck. I know that's a cliche that's often used, but it is reality. Absolutely. And having the respect that I do for the service Dr. Minnis provided the country, all right, I recognize that he has persons who are affected by how they perceive he is treated. And so all I'm saying is, let us show him the respect of a former leader and former prime minister.
Have you shared this with in you know, behind closed doors with the top tier of the party?
All I'm saying is, any role that Dr. Minnis has to play in the Free National Movement is a decision for the Free National Movement, in particular, its council. That does not come before me. All I can offer as advice is to say, let's be mature about how we treat him, and let us not cut off our noses to spite our faces. That's all.
Dr. Rollins, the FNM was beaten soundly at the polls about roughly now 2 months ago. What kind of opposition do you believe the Bahamian people want to, need to, and must see from the FNM in this term?
Bahamians want fighters. Simple as that. They don't want, I think Bahamians have grown very cynical or distrusting of politicians. They believe that we get into politics to enrich ourselves, to improve our own circumstances, when in actuality they vote for us to go there to make things better for the Bahamian people. They're looking side-eye at us. They're saying, you all are going there seemingly to better yourselves, and you forget about the people you say you care about. What I am saying is, to ensure that Bahamians become more involved in the political process the way they used to be. We need greater transparency. We need to open up the workings of government to the Bahamian people so that they can begin to trust us again. We need to show Bahamians that we're serious. As opposition, I'm talking. As opposition.
Yes.
That we're serious about doing things that reflect a listening ear to the public.
Do you think that's being achieved? I know it's only 2 months in, but it seems as though the Bahamian people did not buy any of that, what you're describing, as it relates to the FNM being able to deliver it. How will the FNM go about saying, listen, hi, we are still here, we are competitors in this fight, and we deserve your attention and your trust once again?
I think they see that in the opposition right now. I think that they recognize that we have come with a degree of fight and grit that they expect from us. And, Michael Pintard is our leader. We are here as members of Parliament. I am here along with my colleagues to support him. And of course, to be ambassadors for the Free National Movement, because by us being effective as ambassadors of the Free National Movement and giving the Bahamian people hope that we are sincere when we say we want to see a much better country than we're seeing right now, then that's where our credibility comes from. That's currency. When people say, you know what, I believe him, I believe her, they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And until we have that type of credibility in the eyes of the Bahamian people, then we're not going to get to where we're trying to go. And we are trying to be government one day. It's not going to happen anytime soon because we just came out of an election. But our job now is to hold the government accountable.
So
and look at this.
Anytime soon, what you mean? Because a term can run up pretty quickly. So what you mean it's not going to happen anytime soon?
When the Progressive Liberal Party lost in 2017, they engaged in a perpetual campaign. It was a 4+ year campaign.
Is
for
the
them.
FNM doing that now?
No, we're doing what an opposition is supposed to do. Mm-hmm. We are holding this government accountable for their stewardship of this of the reins of the country that they've been given by the Bahamian people. Mm-hmm. And I will say this, and I don't believe I was exaggerating. I think there's a tremendous degree of buyer's remorse, only less than 2 months in. Last thing I want to say, and just so you can appreciate where I'm coming from, I'm not just going to blame a shadow minister for energy and utilities, energy, utilities, and aviation as it is. I'm not just going to blame JoBeth Colby Davis. We have a situation where in healthcare, we have a generator. 2 months ago, a request was submitted to the managing director of the Public Hospitals Authority for a transfer switch for the generator. Do you know that the failings of BPL were amplified because of the failure by the managing director to purchase the transfer switch? And now we have dialysis patients who have to go to doctor's hospital at public expense. You don't want to imagine the cost that's going to bring.
And listen, healthcare, I've spoken to numerous ministers of health, not just the present one, and I've heard it said how healthcare really has been fumbling and stumbling for decades. But where do you think it needs to start to turn healthcare around?
You know where it needs to start?
Where?
What I just mentioned just now, that person is a political appointee. We need to stop making people responsible for things strictly on the basis of their political affiliation, because we've shown time and time again that's not how you properly run a country.
Would an Andre Rollins FNM stop making political appointees and stop looking for the people who walked with you, campaigned with you, worked for you, and pointing them to positions, whatever those positions are? Would an Andre Rollins FNM stop that practice?
Well, I can tell you this. Any government that I'm a part of, one of the leading criterion will be qualification for the job. It has to be merit-based, because if you are going to make an appointment, let it be an appointment that is going to actually cause you to be shown in a very positive light. It will bring credit to you for having appointed that person to that post. But if you put incompetent people in important jobs and they fail, they make you look bad.
Andre Rollins, you say is a switch that's needed for the generator.
A transfer switch.
A transfer switch.
So that when the power goes out,
it
automatically causes the generator to switch on.
Madam Managing Director, you must respond to this.
Respond.
He just what the Shadow Minister of Energy, Aviation,
and the spokesperson
and
for health.
Utilities, and the spokesperson for health said this evening here that it's just a switch that's been requested now for a longest while.
2 months ago, she got the request put on her table and did nothing. And not only that, today we have people who could not be transported by gurney from the accident and emergency up to the ward that they were assigned to simply because the elevator was not functioning.
Andre Rollins, now you know PMH had its issues from a long time. Do you support the new hospital?
You know what? No, I don't.
Andre Rollins, why?
Do you know why?
When PMH continues to be a patchwork of confusion?
If I can't properly run what I have now, how do you expect me to invest hundreds of millions of dollars in something else before I invest hundreds of millions of dollars in what I have that's not working?
You must come back. You have to, because my team will rile me in the back there if I don't go to the break that they've already sent me to.
And I just want to ask you this question.
Yes.
We talked about political appointees. I'd just like for you to invite your panelist who's going to come here after me, who is in fact a political appointee at BPL, who's being paid to give positive press for BPL. I want you to ask, I think her name is Candace Scott. I want you to ask her if she could speak to what is going on at BPL honestly and truthfully and acknowledge that it is unacceptable what is happening right now.
Well, she doesn't speak to BPL's issues on the show. She doesn't speak to BPL's issues, and so that's it. Now wait a minute though. How is this Andre Rollins?
Come on, let's have the conversation. Let's have the conversation.
It's three, so you pick and fight.
No, what I'm saying is, let's stop the spin. Let's stop the public relations.
She does not speak on BPL here on the show.
Not here on the show?
No.
Well, I want her to give an honest assessment of what's happening at BPL.
But she can't. She doesn't, and she can't.
Another girl?
Yeah.
Is that
No. What I think.
Pick and fight with another girl?
No.
Andre Rollins, you have been out of. Look at me.
The equality of the sexes is what we're about.
Look at me. You have been out of. Listen, I love you.
The equality of the sexes is very important.
I need you back here.
The equality, Shanique, the equality of the sexes is very important. And I'd like to challenge my good friend. Maybe one of these days, maybe she will come to the realization that the country is far more important than...
She doesn't speak on... I'll tell you this. She doesn't come on the show and speak on being... Don't you start. Now, I want to ask you this. Wait a minute, Andre Rollins. You have been out of frontline politics for over 10 years now. Over 10 years.
Yes.
What's different about... I don't even know what the hell...
What's different about what?
I don't know how the hell to ask this question. What is different about Andre Rollins now versus Andre Rollins more than 10 years ago?
I think I've grown and developed, but I've maintained my fierceness. And I'm very passionate about seeing our country advance. And so this is a very small country. We're too small to allow ourselves to be divided along political lines. I don't believe any government should seek to hurt people on the basis of political affiliation.
You want speak,
All of us want a better country. And so, you're talking about panelists. We have two panelists who are coming on here, and I know they're patriotic Bahamians. I know they want the best for this country. All I believe is in trying to, encourage, a more objective analysis and assessment of where we are as a country. And I'm sure if you do that, you will have to acknowledge that we are not experiencing progress in this country. We are regressing under the stewardship of a government of public relations and spin.
I want you, but are you interested in leadership of the FNM? That is what they say. They say you've been making media rounds all day today and before, and all these things you do in the House of Assembly, you're positioning yourself. Yes or no? I have to go.
What I'm saying is I want Long Island to know I'm going to be there tomorrow. I want this government to do what it says it wants to do for Long Island, because if they do really well for Long Island, then they stand a chance of trying to be competitive. But if they try to victimize Long Island because of my stance in holding them to account, then not only, let them suffer.
No, but we know we'll hear your voice.
Please, don't do that.
Be on the headlines.
Don't say let them suffer. No, listen, one thing about us Long Islanders, we're very independent, and we will not lay down and play dead. We're going to stay strong. The reason we are as strong as we are is because of political victimization by the PLP. And I can tell you this, that has made us so resilient, and we will stay that way.
Thank you very much. Andre Rollins, I thank you for being here. Thank you for accepting the invitation. I hope you do that again and again. Hit me up when you want to come and discuss issues as well. I'm open to that. It's good to have you here. Great to see you again.
Thank you.
And of course,
thank you for having me.
Looking forward to having you again. I'll tell you that, and I mean that. This is Beyond the Headlines. Let me tell you something. When we come back, we'll see what they have to say, because I don't know everything that Ben said, but stay exactly where you are. We're back after this.
Once something becomes the common behavior, it is the common behavior. When you operate at that level, personal emotions simply cannot float to the top.
For the average normal person that goes to the store, things like that affect us.
They must be judicious in the execution of their duty.
Well, I think whatever the nurses want, give it to them.
Hedges, you know, you do everything on your phone now. You see how old he is?
What are we walking back? That Bimini is no longer an island?
That's
okay,
not
because
what he was trying to
he also,
say. Well, I don't even know what red basket anymore either. What do y'all people say?
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience, with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's great to have you all tuned in this evening. Yes, it's quite warm in here, but I'll tell you, obviously, if you were just joining, I had, for most of the hour, the Free National Movement's Member of Parliament for Long Island, Dr. Andre Rollins, who is also the Shadow Minister of Energy, Aviation and Utilities, and the spokesperson for health here on the first two segments. And of course, he addressed those issues and a number of others as well about his future. Well, he didn't quite answer that, did he? Didn't quite answer that. But I'll tell you, we look forward to having him again and continuing the conversation and hearing some of his views on some of the issues that continue to come up in the nation. Meanwhile, though, the Hot Topics panel, my lord, the Hot Topics panel is here. I don't even know who here. Let's just see. Good evening. It's good to have you all here. It's good to see you, Cassia Stewart. It's good to see you, Peggy Candace. It's good to see you, Howard Johnson. Good evening to each of you.
You're supposed to say, let's get ready to rumble!
Ooh, not even good evening.
Y'all missed the behind the scenes, almost so scrapped by the two of them. They almost scrapped us now, Peggy and everybody.
Cassius, you're so silly. Happy Independence to all of you. Cassius, I tell you. Listen, Dr. Rollins addressed a lot and spoke to a lot. He questioned y'all. He questioned whether or not BPL did have an incident involving a natural matter, which of course we know was the lightning strike that was reported, and a number of other things. He talked about the fact that Dr. Minnis deserves the respect that he perhaps that is lacking within the FNM as being a former prime minister, and only one of two for the Free National Movement to have been elected to higher office. Your thoughts on anything Dr. Rollins had to say this evening?
You know, Dr. Roll, like I said, first of all, I mean, I think Andre's a really nice guy. He just got to temper his anger, because sometimes he can get out of control. I think you're positioning yourself for leader of the party, but that comes with a certain degree of control, and you have to exert that control no matter which area you're in, which company you're in, or which situation you're in. And that you have to always be in control. And sometimes you could push the wrong buttons and cause the whole thing to get out of control. Like in the studio, almost end up in a rumble for the jungle. But you know, like I said, he's right. You know, Dr. Minnis has given his contribution, and he should be respected. Perry Christie has given contribution; he should be respected. Hubert Ingram, and so on. And you know, any politician who has offered themselves to a public life should be respected. And so I agree with him in that regard. But I think we still we have a lot of things to fix in this country, and I think he should continue to agitate, because only way you get things done is when you agitate to get it done. And so the agitation is what causes the government to stay in line. The government has a large cabinet, a large seating in the House, and they could get lax. And if you don't agitate, sometimes they could drift for the next 5 years and get absolutely nothing done but just singing and dancing. And so that agitation is critical to making sure that we can get the maximum, the best out of this country.
Good night, Shanique. I don't know if thank you for being here, but good night. I mean, one of the definition of shadow, he called himself the shadow minister and the spokesperson, is a translucent object. And I told him in his face that I saw through him, because he's like light shining through a translucent object. Obviously, I'm a trigger for him. He knows me well, or at least one of my personalities very well. And so I thought he gave an interview of assumption, and we know the word assumption, the first three letters. He gave the interview of assumption. He's well-versed, very fluent in all things PLP, or so he thinks. But when it's times to talk about the FNM, he hooing and hawing and feeling for words. You ask him a direct question. Of course, every time you ask him a direct question, he changed the subject and always return back to the PLP. You said almost 2 months ago, the people made a decision. They chose progress. They decided to re-elect the brave Davis administration, which means that they rejected reset. They rejected the leadership of the FNM. You know, when I saw Dr. Rollins, I said, oh, the eclipse of Michael Pintard. Yeah, I see you, Dr. Rollins, and you like fight with girls, and you pick a good one. Candy Scott, she don't play.
Howard?
Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, Bob. So, Shanique, I'll start here because I know I got to go quick. So, Dr. Rollins made a few very salient points that we cannot ignore. And they highlight the complexity and the murkiness of when you have the political directorate seemingly interfering with public utilities companies. So what do I mean by that? When you have the minister, who we've given credit to, who's done a great job in the aggregate, I believe, over the time that she has been the minister. However, when you take the credit, or you get credit, you also have to take the criticism along with that. So we can't say add a girl to Minister Colby Davis when there are some good things going on relative to energy policy in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and then when something like this weekend happens and we don't hear anything from her for 72 hours, it's okay to just blame BPL. No, clear, concise communication has to come from everywhere, and that's the political directorate as well as the technocrats and the administration of BPL. So that's what I wanted to say about that. But as we move along, with relative to the exchange with Peggy, I noted with interest that Mr. Rollins would say that Peggy, let's have your analyst speaking the truth and not being political. But Dr. Rollins said he doesn't think it was an act of God that caused this outage the other day, which means that he believes that something happened and the PLP administration is just making things up or lying. Well, that's a political argument too that he's making, right? That's political spin, just like he is accusing Peggy of her political spin. And what am I pointing that out for? These are the things that we need to start leaving alone. Whether it was an act of God or it was something manual that has been broken down because of neglect over the years, the fact remains, people in Dr. Andre Rollins' position have to be coming up with solutions, not just pulling out political receipts.
Well, I did ask him for solutions, Howard.
Right.
I did.
And finally, I want to say this on this point. Dr. Rollins said with great interest to me, well, you know, as a former prime minister, Dr. Minnis deserves the respect. And yes, he does. But Dr. Rollins and the Gang of Eight were the ones who politically took Dr. Minnis up. And if it was up to them and their trajectory and destroying Dr. Minnis's political career, he would have never been the prime minister and the former prime minister today, who is saying that everybody should uphold and herald as one of the great saviors of the party moving forward. So, you know, there's a little bit of hypocrisy there from Dr. Rollins, because now, as a former prime minister, he's good. But when he was the leader of the party, when you need to be the leader of your party to be the prime minister, you juck him up then, but he okay now after he then being prime minister. So, you know, we gotta fix some stuff.
Trying to loosen, we
Quite
see through you.
interesting perspectives, Howard. Quite interesting. You both and Peggy, this morning, you know, something unfortunate happened on the island of Bimini. There was a fire that I imagine started in one house, but we all know the structure and how Bimini is structured. So it quickly spread, and a total of 6 houses were destroyed. What was vexing is that there is no fire truck on the island of Bimini. But it's not working? You said there is?
No, I have breaking news where they said that the fire truck was on. There's a picture of a fire truck on its way to the fire from nonetheless,
well, the
it was
story
there.
tonight, I wish we had time to air that story. The story tonight, and no one responded between 7 and 8, and at this very moment, said that there is no fire truck on the island of Bimini, or if there's one, it's not working. I don't know. Is it still trying to get to the fire?
Shanika, we've been here before last year. And we've been here before last year. There was a fire. I was on the same show.
We did.
When we had another fire in Bimini. There was no truck and the place burned down. And we still saying the same thing again?
Unless
you know,
ZNS Northern Service is misleading us. But there's a video saying Bimini Airport fire truck deployed to extinguish structural fire. And this is the video.
Well, the 6 houses were lost in the story that Eyewitness News carried tonight. It said in that news story that there was no fire truck there. And so, but you all your thoughts.
We just gotta get serious with governing and stop playing government. You know, that's my problem. We play government. You know, you know that people's lives and livelihood are at stake, right? We could budget millions of dollars for this and millions of dollars to go here, but we can't budget $50,000, $100,000 for a fire truck to help people save people's lives. Stop playing government. That's my problem. All of these family of islands that we claim to be our islands, put fire truck, put ambulance on it. I remember one time I was in Harbour Island and the man get hit with a boat. They grabbed the man and threw him on the back of one BC truck. I mean, by the time they didn't throw him, he was half dead. You know what I mean? And I said to myself, what would we come into? I mean, this is how the people live in the islands. There is no resort, no help. And so let's stop playing government, Mr. Government, whoever you is. And so we need to make sure that if we can budget, let's budget to make sure that, first of all, we have fire trucks and ambulance on every family of islands. And if you all don't want, let me go beg somebody to go get it. If you all put me in charge of begging the ambulance and the fire truck, because I'm sure somewhere around the world, someone will be glad to give me a fire truck and an ambulance. Because I just sick of that. We shouldn't be talking about this again.
So at risk of being the spin master, once again, the Northern Services, ZNS, has reported and should post the video of a fire engine on its way to the fire structure. I only could say what they post. So Northern Service, ZNS, if you lying, stop lying.
How would your thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, Shanique, so all of the islands that have humans on them in the Bahamas, right? We have to make sure that there are certain things that are in place for human beings to function in their natural capacities and in their natural habitat. You need food. you need education, you need water, you need healthcare, right? So I'll go back to something Dr. Rollins said. He was talking about how under former Prime Minister Christie, we had anchor projects. Well, we need anchor emergency equipment and anchor emergency personnel on all of these islands. So I hope that becomes part of the healthcare policy of some government moving forward, where you have the basic emergency and life-saving equipment like fire trucks and ambulances and adequate medical facilities in these populated islands so that our people can have the proper care when these things happen. We know catastrophes are going to happen. There are going to be boating accidents. Unfortunately, there are going to be shootings. There are going to be stabbings. There's going to be medical emergency events. These are going to take place, and we need to have the preventative measures and the preventative equipment in place so when these needs arise, we are able to kick into action.
Yes, absolutely. Today, panel, the Ministry of Transport launched a road safety campaign. It's One Life Too Many campaign in an effort to promote safe driving. Now, and while that's an excellent effort by the Ministry of Transport, it is one of the videos. Now, guys, do we have that? Can we at least play that and get that in the segment? Maybe not, because I'm looking at the time. And we'll come back and revisit it after independence. But surprise, surprise, one of the videos that the ministry put out there, have you all seen it?
No.
Yeah.
Howard, I'm
Rick
sure
Fox
you saw
and
it.
Mario?
Mario Boleg and Senator
Yes.
Rick Fox,
Yeah.
that's right. And they were together talking about and trying to encourage people to drive safely, put the phones down, buckle up, all the rest of it. I think it's a wonderful image, message, and tone that this campaign has set by using both those gentlemen. Your thoughts on just the maturity of you? Okay, they'll play it for me.
Bahamas, we are all different. Different backgrounds, different experiences, different perspectives.
But when it comes to saving lives on our roads, there's something we can all agree on.
Road safety isn't political.
It's personal.
Every life lost is someone's child, someone's parent, someone's friend.
And every one of us has a role to play in preventing the next tragedy.
Slow down.
Stay focused.
Put the phone away.
Never drink and drive.
Let's look out for one another and make it home safely.
Because one life lost on our road is one too many. One life too many.
I'll give you each 10 seconds to respond because, of course, you're here. They are telling me I must rock right now.
Well, before my response, I'm going to say, listen, Shanique, I just want to make a presentation to you on my book, my latest book, When the Freedom Fighters Become a Slave Master.
My boy!
And listen, we have a book launch this Sunday at Gold at 6 o'clock. Shanique, I would like to make an official donate presentation.
Thank you.
You got to do it one shake hand, you know,
Yes.
and listen, you got to copy my book.
I thank you.
Let the audience know that all you who say you love me, the book launch is on Sunday at Goldwyn at 6 o'clock. If you love me, please come out to the book launch. And let Shanique show you the book sheet.
Listen, thank you all so much. Happy Independence, everyone. Happy Independence. Thank you very much for tuning in. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.